But thank you all so much for joining us this month for the Marketo Engaged User Group for the North America Virtual MUG. We're kind of kicking stuff back off here in 2022 after a little bit of a virtual burnout break, I think, for everybody, right? So hopefully get some more user groups going that you can all come to and enjoy here as we go into the rest of the spring and the summer. I'm Natalie Kramer. I'm one of the co-leaders of the Virtual MUG along with Jackie Potts. I work at McGraw-Hill Higher Ed as the Marketing Automation Manager. Jackie, do you want to give a quick intro?
I'm Jackie Potts. I work at Lycor Biosciences in the marketing and strategic marketing for them.
Awesome. And then we're super happy to have Melissa Day here with us today to talk about the global form validation rules. And we'll learn a little bit more about Melissa after we get through just some housekeeping slides. So jumping in, we do have just the house rules. If you're new to Marketo user groups, just a reminder, there's no self-promotion or pitching as a part of the MUG events. Please don't contact anyone outside of the user group without their consent. And if any MUG users share their use case or any details about their Marketo use, please don't share that information without their consent. And then this MUG is being recorded, as we just said, just to kind of comply with the MUG code of conduct. There's just some code of conduct. There's some details here, just that this is being recorded and will be shared after the meeting. So if you have any questions, Jackie and mine email addresses are on here, as well as the advocacy email address. But there's some different ways to stay connected with our chapter. I have some links I'll share here in the chat. If you aren't already a member of the North America Virtual MUG, you can sign up to get reminder emails at this link. You can create an account to get notified about all of our upcoming events too. And there's a ton of other upcoming opportunities for MUG users and then also just Marketo users in general. There's now 3 Marketo Engage certifications. Different levels here, the basic professional, the expert, and then the master. And we can put this link in the chat as well for you to get more details. I know it's summit time period, so a lot of people need to get recertified. So we'll share this link out too with everybody. And then speaking of Summit is happening virtually again in a couple of weeks. I know there's a lot of good content and sessions available as a part of Summit. I noticed today, Ryan Reynolds and Kristen Bell are both 2 of the speakers. So we got some good celebrity entertainment too. So definitely feel free to check that out and register for the event. And then finally, there's some other MUGs, virtual MUGs coming up this spring. Since we're about a third of the way into the month, it looks like most of these are completed. But there is a New York MUG that's going to be virtual office hours next week. And then a Summit roundup on March 17th. So if you're not able to make it to Summit, it might be a good opportunity to catch up on some other details. All right, any questions here before we transition it over to Melissa? All right, cool. Well, Melissa Day, like I mentioned earlier, is here today to talk to us about global form validation rules, one of the newer Marketo features. Melissa is a Marketo certified expert for the last 8 years. She was a member of the 2021 Marketo Engaged Champ class, and I think the 2022 one, right, Melissa? Back again for another year. So congratulations.
Yep. Thank you.
But she's going to share today about her experience with the global form rules and different things you can do as alternatives to that. So we'll turn it over to you, Melissa.
Thanks, Natalie. Thanks for letting me cross your meeting today. I'm really excited to talk about this.
Of course.
A little bit of background about myself, and I'm going to try to start sharing at the same time. Apologies in advance for however clunky this ends up being. I switched my computers right as we were getting ready to get started because I was having some technical issues on my main computer. So hopefully you can see my screen but not see yourselves. Awesome.
Yep, we're good.
Cool, thanks. All right, so yes, my name is Melissa Day. I'm the global digital marketing leader at Chemours. We are a chemical manufacturing company. We're a global organization. We have over 6,000 employees across the world. Our mission is to create a colorful, capable, and cleaner world through the power of chemistry. And you've probably heard of some of our products that we create: Teflon, coatings materials. We create Freon refrigerants, now kind of moving into our Opteon refrigerant family. We create titanium dioxide through our brand TiPure, other fluoropolymers like Viton and Krytox and Nafion. So we have a whole family of brands and names. And I support our digital marketing team, which is nested in our marketing communications function. So we support all of those brands globally as a function, just like HR or finance across the company. Each one of those product families is rooted in a business. We have 4 core business units, and they each have their own decentralized marketing and sales teams. So we're not called a marketing operations group, but that's in essence really what we are. And we do have the opportunity to have some digital marketing strategy that we're able to import along the way, which can be interesting. But like a lot of the people on this call right now, I'm sure we're a little bit of a unicorn group, right? We do a lot of everything. And that includes our MarTech stack, which is rooted in Marketo and Salesforce that I wanted to call out for today's presentation, but we're also using tools like GoToWebinar. We're implementing Visible this year. We're also using Verticgirl for a WeChat integration. We have a whole bunch of different things going on. But I was excited to see one of the latest product releases that I think a lot of Marketo users had been really eagerly anticipating some real change within the platform for the last few years. So the global form validation role was something that I just thought was really, really interesting as soon as I heard the buzz around it. For our session today, I really wanted to focus on, I think, the questions that everybody kind of has, like, what are they and who uses them and why would you use them and how would I use them if I wanted to? And could you use them first so I could see what it looks like and I don't have to change my instance to find out the hard way that I don't like it. So that's what I'm here today to kind of show you and hopefully give you a little bit of confidence to maybe try it in your own instance if you feel like it's applicable to your business, to your use in your instance of Marketo. So this is a really interesting topic because I feel like I was a part of a lot of user groups where there was conversation and buzz around, oh, wouldn't it be so great if we could filter out, personal emails and really do more than just put business email as the label on our form when we're asking people for their email information. I know a lot of people are using different lead scoring rules or lead to account matching that are all based on email domain information. So this really becomes a critical component of a lot of people's lead data. This new feature in Marketo allows you to globally suppress any email domains that you don't want to allow to come through your form. So what is this? It's really the ability to block someone from submitting your form, just like if they were to put letters in the phone number field. Right, Marketo knows that if you set up the phone number field to be a phone number value, it will only accept a full phone number. Same thing for email address. If you don't put in something, at something.com, it won't let you submit the form because it recognizes it as being a data error. This is designed to work in the same way, but you get a level of customization to dictate what email domains you would want to block. A couple of things to note. Validation rules for right now are limited to email address domains only. So even though I just mentioned phone numbers, that's not something that you can base the form blocking off of, or company name or first name, last name, or anything else. This is strictly for email address only for the moment. Also for the moment, any validation rule that you activate will be effective across your entire instance, all forms that are within that instance of Marketo. So you can't pick and choose and say, okay, I want this form to apply to form A and a different rule to apply to form B. It's it's all or nothing. But what this really looks like is what you see in that screenshot on the right-hand side. And we'll look at a real example. But basically, you can program what you want the error message to say if someone were to type in an email that matches something on your suppression list that you're building into your validation rule, to let them know that they need to use a business email address instead, for example. So who can use this? You may not have seen it. It depends if you knew it was coming or if you were following the different release notes that were coming out. This may have just kind of crept in the night and you don't even know that it's there. Anyone who's an admin user already has access to this. And this feature is available across all Marketo instances right now. If you don't see it, one of the first things that you can do is just make sure from a security permission standpoint that you have a role that has access to this particular feature. If you're an admin, like I said, you already have access, but if there's any user that you would want to have access outside of that admin role, you would have to go ahead and grant this specific permission. This wouldn't have been inherited under any role other than admin. And then when you're actually looking for it in Marketo, it's right under database management. So in the same place as your custom activity and custom object information. Now, I listed some other questions in our agenda, which is really just like an FAQ almost of this particular feature. So I really want to put the slides away and just get into Marketo and show you what this looks like and where it is. But before I do that, any questions about what we talked about so far, or just what these form validation rules are in general? Can you hear my dog snoring in the background? She is very bored by what I'm talking about.
Cannot hear that.
Okay. All right, well, with that, let's jump into Marketo. So this is our instance. This is our real Chemours instance. I just created a test to be able to show you how we may implement something like this. And I do want to get into what I hope is an interesting conversation of would you use it and why and in what context. I think that's the more interesting part than just how to turn it on and how to get it going. So I am an admin of our instance, which you would need to have access to the admin tab to get here. You go right under database management. Hopefully this is big enough that you can see it. You see global form validation role is a new option in that admin menu. If you haven't done this before, you haven't seen it, maybe you're doing this in parallel with me right now, you will see the consumer email domain list, or that role, I'm sorry, already exists. That was rolled out as an inactive role, almost as a placeholder when this feature was rolled out. So this is a really great place to start if you're just curious about what this can do. This is built in for you by Marketo. And this form validation rule is locked in. If you wanted to activate it, you could from here. Marketo has offered a list of consumer email domains that would be blocked if you activated this rule just out of the box. That list has been provided in a CSV file if you click that link, which you could do, no harm, no foul. You want to activate the rule to see what it would block. And this is a list of just the most popular, although it seems pretty inclusive, of all of the consumer emails like Gmail, AOL.com, Hotmail.com, all of those. So by activating this, this kind of pre-authored rule from the system, you would be blocking anyone from billspan.com and the rest of these email domains that are in this CSV file. So that's one way if you wanted to be, in my opinion, really strict about what you were preventing and you wanted to really be, really have all of your bases covered. If you didn't have a lot of risk against, preventing people from filling out your form, this is a great, really easy way to start. And you can just activate this rule and click update and it will be in effect immediately. But for the sake of our time today, I actually created a test rule that was a little bit more specific. So for this test rule, I'm just having it block a couple of fake test domains. In this window, I can customize that language, that error message that I showed in that screen grab. You can have it say whatever you'd like. So I put, please use your business email address. You could put it in all caps with an exclamation point if you want to be angry. You could ask for something else if you needed. I think there are some other use cases around this for preventing like competitor email domains, and then you could have a different not so nice message, up to you. But for today, I just said, please use your business email address. And we're blocking test.xyz and test.111.com. As soon as I activated this rule, it started taking effect, not only for forms that are on our Marketo landing pages, but forms that are embedded anywhere as well. So to kind of show you what this looks like, this is one of our white paper download forms on our website. So this is an embedded Marketo form on a Sitecore page. I'm going to fill this out Melissa@test.111.com. So nothing else really matters anyway. But I will agree to the privacy policy and submit, and then see that I get blocked immediately with this error message that I configured. What I think is great is that the error message text that comes through is the same as what you would program in the form. If you did want to customize any additional error messages that come through, which means you're only impacting the text itself. So the CSS behind this page actually styles that error message to look and feel like the rest of my form instead of overriding it with, the Marketo bright red bubble that would show up here. But that's it. It tells me to use my business email instead. And so if I come back here and say, oh, okay, now that I know, I type in a business email and submit the form, it keeps the rest of my information. So I don't, as a user, I don't lose the work that I've done. I can just go back and edit that email, click the submit button. It doesn't block me from submitting again because it recognizes that my email is not clear from the form validation rules, and I get to access my content. It's just as easy to deactivate the rule as it is to activate. All you would do would be uncheck this and update, and this takes effect immediately. So if I were to go back to this page and type in, because this is also a Marketo form, test.111.com. Oh no, oh, well, it's because I didn't refresh it, sorry. Well, there you go. That's what you get for screen sharing live in a meeting. But in theory, right, this the form validation rules take effect within minutes. And as soon as you activate or deactivate, you'll start to see it in action. So this is, I think those were all of the questions I wanted to cover, except the fun ones, which are, would you use this and why? And I would love to give my thoughts on if I would use it and why, and not just in a test scenario, but in our real instance, whether or not we would think about putting something like this into place. But if anyone else has feedback, or if anyone else has already started using these validation rules, I would love to hear more about what you're doing with them.
Yeah, and definitely feel free to go off mute if you have started using them, or if you have other questions, definitely feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask Melissa or share your thoughts. Well, I have a question. There's been a lot of chatter around this in the Marketo community since this came out. I don't know if you've heard this, Melissa. A lot of people are blocking the free mails, right? Your Gmails and your Yahoos and things like that. But for anyone that has like a preference center set up on a Marketo form, it can actually like prevent someone from filling out your preference center. Have you heard about that? And what are your thoughts around, it has to be a global form, adoption. So what do you think there?
I think that has to be product feedback, right? That I know that the Adobe community is taking really seriously, the need to be able to apply different rules to different forms. I think that it would be pretty serious to assume that if you were using the global form validation rule to block Gmail addresses, for example, that you wouldn't have any in your database to want to be able to leverage that preference center form. So, definitely a challenge there and an obstacle there. What does it mean for the time being right now? It probably means that you can't leverage this, right? I mean, maybe there's a workaround somewhere in the world that you could, override the validation rules with some other means of a form, like using a Sitecore form in my case, right, to accept that data and then push it into Marketo and bypass the form altogether. But it feels like once we start going down that road, it starts to defeat the purpose of what this has been used for. So I would say, as with anything, right, use with caution. It's really, really exciting that we have this feature. And I think the more that people use it and start to realize some of the limitations and some of the challenges, I think the good news is that the noise encourages our product team to continue to work and develop and account for, some of the levels of customization that we know.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I did hear that they're already working on that update for later this year. I don't know if I'm making that up or not.
I think I heard the same thing.
Okay. I'm like, did I dream that?
No, I think they definitely wanted to phase it out and to be able to offer this in one instance first, just knowing that it would take so long to be able to pick and choose which form IDs that you could apply the different roles to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Any other questions for Melissa? Any other thoughts? What are you all thinking? Are you gonna go roll it out? Have you already rolled it out? Quiet group today. Yeah, I'm excited to roll it out eventually, but I'm gonna need to have form specific items that I can move around. We have a lot of students that we market to, and they all use Gmails and Yahoos and things like that. So I'm gonna need that option at some point. So hopefully it comes soon.
That's true.
And
I
then
agree.
yeah, I am gonna stop recording too in case anyone have questions and they don't want to be on video.